So thank you so much for coming to Darshan Room. Anybody's first time here to Darshan Room? Thank you so much for coming. It means a lot. It's such a frigid day, and the weather's been kind of like, I think the best word is icky. But it takes. They say that you can get anything in this world, you can, but you can't get back one thing, no matter how much money you pay. What is that? Time, exactly. So it is right now, 6:51 p.m. on the East Coast. No matter how much money you pay, you can never go back to 6:50. So actually time is your most valuable resource. So I really want to value every single moment that we have together, and I hope to speak something worthwhile. So before we start, I'm going to sing a song, a quick song. We're all about singing songs here. And this song is a song that we usually sing before we give a class to invoke us of the transcendental reality. So I have the lyrics here, and there's a translation, and I'll sing one line, and you guys can sing the next line, and then we'll start. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Thank you very much. So today we'll be speaking about an amazing topic, something that's actually I've suffered through, and actually just before this I was talking to somebody who is currently in the midst of it, so please offer a prayer to that person. So we're going to be speaking about the pearls for mental well-being and and what we can learn from this. And I think we can all admit that we all need some type of mental upgrade, because if you don't need a mental upgrade, then why are we here? One thing that before I start any class, I always remember, I'm not the one giving class. I am, by having to present on something, I'm actually the learner. I'm actually trying to learn. If you ever want to, when your teachers are trying to have you learn something, they'll say, learn something in such a way, and so well, that you'll be able to explain it to somebody in a very simple way. So I'm trying to do that. And so I started my monastic journey at the age of 21. I went to a job interview after, as I was mentioned, Ohio State University. I graduated in economics. I got into a job interview. I got in my first round, then I got in my second round, and then I was on the final round, and I looked at myself in a suit in the waiting room of the job interview. I looked at myself, and I looked at my shoes, my tie, everything, and I'm like, this doesn't feel quite right. It doesn't feel like my calling, or as in the Vedic circles we say our dharma. So our dharma can be very simply defined as what is our internal self, what makes us us. The dharma of salt is to be salty. The dharma of sugar is to be sweet. The dharma of water is to be hydration, wet, so water is still trying to figure out its dharma. Especially now outside, it's snowing. So I took some time off. Every parent's worst nightmare. I took some time off after college, and I said, let me just do 1 year. And I traveled to New York. I joined the monastery here, and I did some traveling in India with my guru. And then I went to England, and I continued some studies into the ancient wisdom literature. So my gap year, now I'm on my 4th gap year, and it's amazing. And it's actually, Brooklyn is amazing because it's the last place you'd ever expect there to be a monastery. We have about 10 to 15 full-time monks that live here. And we prefer this place compared to the Himalayas or where you think a monk would hang out. Because why we say this, because you can see the material world at its best in New York. You can see exactly what is sat and what is asat. Sat means what is truth and what is untruth. And you can see it. I remember one of the senior monks, the most senior monk here that lives here, he has been a monk since 1978. And that was when you were born. That was a whole hymn. So he took me to Times Square. He's a lifelong New Yorker, And he took me to Times Square for the first time. He said, yes, here, Hadai. This is everything that you could have in this world. Do you want it? And then I said, no, it doesn't look like much. So, yes, so pearls for mental well-being. So one of the monks, when I first joined the monastery, told me at 4 a.m. when we were just waking up, let's go to the gym. And I got confused. At 4 a.m., who's going to the gym? And actually, he said, let's go to the mind gym. So what the spiritual practice, it helps us upgrade, uplift, and elevate and clarify our own minds. People train their bodies. Externally, people may look ripped at the gym. Like Shrikar is a very strong person, a strong personality. He could take anybody in an arm wrestling match. No, just kidding. I don't know. But how much do we train our own minds? So it's amazing how much we invest in the external, the tangible part of our life, but we don't invest in the invisible part of our life that nobody sees. I heard a thing that I just recently came back from India, and I didn't take as many pictures, and someone told me the phrase, if you didn't post it on Instagram, did it really happen? And I'm like, wow, but that's a very superficial way of looking at things. So don't create a life that looks good on the outside, but is suffering on the inside. But a truly thoughtful life is what actually makes it look that is fulfilling on the inside. So I want to give you a picture of something that's very relatable. Please raise your hand if you've had a cracked phone before. Cracked phone disease. So at Shrikar's, everybody look at Shrikar's phone. It's like, I don't know how that barely thinks it's running. So has anybody had a cracked screen? What about a bad battery? Yes? The case is maybe chipped, but has anybody's operating system been broken? No. So when we have a phone, we could do a lot of the externals. The screen can be cracked, the battery can be bad, the case can be chipped, and we can keep continuing. Have you cut your hand on that? Almost cut your hand on that. The glass is, we're struggling, and he still doesn't have a case, and he is struggling so much with it. But once the operating system is gone, time for a new phone, right? So we deal with many hardships in life that crack our externals, but as soon as we understand our operating system is fried, then, AKA, in the context of this presentation, the mind is not taken care of, then the whole thing is not fruitful, no matter what the endeavor is. So, I don't want to bore you with statistics, but just to keep in mind of the numbers and the perspective that we're dealing with, that suicide rates are high, $300 billion in the cost of it, 19.4 million American adults in 2021 had co-occurring mental illnesses and substance abuse disorders. So this is a real problem. A lot of people go through this problem. One of the first misconceptions of mental health is something we have, or we sometimes categorize. Either we're mentally sick or we're mentally healthy. But mental health fluctuates exactly like your physical health. If you have really good health, but you don't eat right, let's say you go to McDonald's every day, and you don't exercise, what will happen to it? It deteriorates. Mental health is exactly like that. You may be good now, but due to forces maybe outside of even your control, then you have to actually take that into consideration. So if you have good mental health now, you should fortify yourself to keep having good mental health. And I'll tie this in but with the Bhagavad-gita. And I just wanted to show you some mental weakness and mental fitness. Like a little chart I made. Mental weakness is characterized by the mind being distracted. And you could see which one you fit into more. We're all on here, but how many of us have the ability to actually be present? To be present in something, not checking our phones, not getting distracted, but it's kind of like watching a movie out of sync. Have you seen a movie it's like the words are coming, but then everything is just a little delayed? It's like 10 seconds. It's like 10 seconds. Yeah. How long can you watch like that? It's quite annoying, right? So the body is here. I'm looking at Nityananda Chandra. My body is here, but my mind is what am I going to do tomorrow? How can I cultivate a meaningful relationship and meaningful dealings in this world with that type of mind? But mental fitness is characterized by focus like a laser beam. Have you met people like that? That they look at you and they talk to you and they're completely present with you. They're not thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow. They're here to give you rapt attention. It's actually sometimes quite annoying. It's it's okay. You can get distracted too. I'm going to get distracted. But yeah, it's amazing. That's mental fitness. And mental weakness, you're controlled by fear. What's going to happen? Nelson Mandela said, may your decisions in life reflect your dreams, not controlled by your fears. Mm-hmm. So how many decisions do we make in our life that are controlled by our fears? And it's a very limiting approach, what's going to happen if I do this? What's going to happen if I do that? But a mentally fit person is living their life inspired by what they want to do, their dreams. Are we, children are very much, you can learn a lot from children because children is like Play-Doh. They haven't been sculpted and molded by the world yet. They still have dreams. Innocence. When's the last time you had a dream about something you want to accomplish? I mean, it's a new year. People have dreams in the beginning of the year, but February, most of them are gone. So a mentally weak person is rigid and attached. When things don't go their way, they don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how, they get frustrated and angry. But when we're mentally fit, we're flexible. We're detached. We know that the only constant thing in this world is change. Exactly. So because the world is constantly changing and moving, the fit mind can adjust accordingly. So what I'm going to share with you tonight is 3 insights from the Bhagavad-gita So it's an ancient book of wisdom. It's a wisdom literature that may shift your mental wellness by the principles inlaid in it. And I hope to share these 3 life hacks that I learned from the Gita. So yes, go ahead.
I'm curious, if, say like, there was, maybe you're like talking to someone and they're boring, and you're not very attentive and focused because what they're saying is we're not that interested. Would you be considered mentally fit or weak?
If something's bored, sometimes when I'm bored of a conversation, I'm focused on what they're saying. I'm understanding, but I also try to use my because it's not a monologue, it's a dialogue. So you have to make sure, like, define your conversation. Is it a monologue or a dialogue? Because if they're just straight up monologuing to you, then you should seek their permission. Like, for example, like, I would never monologue to you if you didn't give me that right. So if we're going to have a dialogue, you should also take into account my say into this. And so if I do, then I always try to, like, for example, I have a perfect example. Someone started speaking to me about politics recently. And as a monk, we're probably the last person on earth that you want to talk politics to. I remember one of the monks, he still thought Obama was president. He didn't know. I met him in India, and he was like, I thought, how's that Barack Obama? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, it's been a while. So he started speaking about politics, and I'm just like, I'm not so interested in this. I want to focus on what he's saying, but I'm not so interested in what he has to say. Let me try to dovetail. That's a key word. How would you define dovetail?
It's a furniture used in furniture. It's where they put 2 pieces of wood together and it comes out like a tail. And it's joint. It connects to them.
Yeah. So I try to connect what he's speaking about. That still requires my focus. I try to focus on what they're saying and try to find one thing that I can connect to something I am interested in. So, like, if you're speaking about politics and then I like, okay, politics, it's talking about leadership. What are qualities of good leaders? And I think about in our wisdom literatures, there's so many examples of good leaders, and then you can just start describing them. At least that's how I would do in my life. And you have to see how you can apply that in your life.
What if it was like, say, a presentation and you can't ask questions? Then what?
Then, I hope you're not talking about this one. Then one thing you can do is there's in many presentations there's not many, you're not locked or chained down sometimes, but sometimes in corporations you have to do what you got to do. But sometimes you can walk with your feet, You can choose what you want to hear in this world. So I think that's a simple way of doing this. And so I'll take more questions and comments towards the end. Yeah, go ahead.
Pretty much you try to keep the conversation engaged while redirecting the direction, but let's still stay in line with it.
Exactly. I think that really helps me a lot. Yeah. When I'm talking to somebody, I'm like, oh, you said something about this, and I it's like maybe it's just a small point, and I just go on my I loop around it. Yeah. Yeah. So it's pretty interesting. So the Bhagavad-gita is where I'm going to get the 3 pearls from. Is a book of 700 verses. It's a conversation. This is the Bhagavad-gita. If anybody doesn't know, everybody has a copy. Yes. If you're not, we can get you a copy. It's a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, and these 2 characters. Arjuna is a warrior on this battlefield, and he's on the battlefield and he has a moment of doubt and bewilderment, and he starts to ask a lot of different questions. And it's Krishna, and Krishna is actually offering many different answers to Arjuna. And so, of course, this place is a literal place, this place called Kurukshetra, where this battlefield happened, but it is also metaphorical. All of us are on a very, very tough battlefield, and there's many obstacles, there's many challenges, and there's things to navigate. So in response, we need a guide. We need something to guide. So the Bhagavad-gita offers itself as a guide. So Arjuna in his time, this book didn't happen in a yoga studio. It didn't happen at the temple. It happened at the time of the most needed crisis of Arjuna. So we can all resonate with that. Because if it happened in a very peaceful place, we'd be like, oh, Arjuna had a peaceful place. I live in Brooklyn, but it happened in the middle of a battlefield for a reason. So one of the first, in response to Arjuna's inquiries, the first pearl that Krishna offers Arjuna is regulation. Can someone read that to me loud and clear?
Regulated habits of eating, sleeping, work, and recreation counteract all physical and mental pain.
One of the biggest problems today is that nobody has a regular routine. Life is constantly fluctuating, and we're oftentimes taken along for the ride or dragged for the ride, whichever applies to your circumstance, which brings up one of the biggest problems with mental health. We're finding that as monks, we have a very regulated schedule in that sense. We wake up the same time every day. We wear the same clothes every day. Why? Because a lot of the complexities of life are simplified. And we are very much encourage people to find balance in life. And perhaps that's probably the biggest hurdle to spiritual life is to do regulation. So I'm going to do a little survey, make it a little interactive. And all I want you guys to do, it's a fun little survey. It could be fun, depends on how you look at it. And I want you to keep a mental count in your head. I'm going to put up 20 questions on the screen. And if you answer yes to any one of these questions, I want you to give yourself a point. Okay? Whoever gets the most point wins. Just kidding. So give yourself a point, and I'm just going to read all these out loud to you. So everybody ready? Yes or yes?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Number 1, I don't read books / upgrade knowledge on a daily basis. 2, I usually end my day with a huge list of things to do. 3, I usually feel uncomfortable and uneasy when I have time off and no pressing responsibilities. 4, I regularly have a huge backlog of people to contact / message to answer. 5, I feel like all my energy is taken up by work and career, leaving little time for anything else. 6, I lack an overall purpose and direction in life. 7, I consciously avoid spending time with others because I have too many things to do. Good so far? The count's okay?
So we do a point if we have one?
If you say yes to any of these, give yourself a point. 8, I rarely reflect, introspect, scrutinize my life direction. 9, I rarely do charity work or welfare activities which are for the benefit of people I don't know. 10, I find it hard to sleep or don't get enough sleep. 11, I have lost a friendship over anger or failing to respect the other person. 12, I rarely find myself completely present in the moment. 13, when friends call me, I rarely have time to have a friendly chat with them. 14, I feel like I complain and find faults more than be grateful and positive. Okay, one more. 15, I have regular health issues which are related to stress, anxiety, or irregular habits. 16, I have not taken a vacation in a year. 17, my partner, children, or family complain that I don't have enough quality time for them. 18, I don't have enough time on self-development, exploring things that I'm interested in. 19, if an emergency comes up in my life, I find it very difficult to adjust. Last one, 20, most of my interactions with people are just about getting things done. So, how'd you do? And so this is how you could see which statements you say yes to. If you have 0 to 6, great, keep going. If you're at 7 through 13, your life balance needs adjustment. And then if you have 14 to 20, danger, urgent attention needed. Did you find that helpful? Yes? Anybody over in the 14 to 20 category? Not yet? I hope you don't get there. 7 to 13? It's a few of us. 0 to 6? A lot of good people here. So I'll stop the presentation here. So we need to introspect about, because our life is going on and on, demands, tasks, duties, but we need to be aware that we're not losing our mental fitness, because that is because of lack of balance. Krishna says that if you find a balance in life and find regulation, then naturally your mind will come to an uplifted position. So this is the first pearl that I'd like to offer you. What was the first pearl? Regulation. The second pearl that I'd like to offer you is expectation. Can someone read that loud and clear?
Perform your duty, remain detached from the results. You're neither controller nor the beneficiary. Bhagavad-gita 2:47.
Yes. So what happens in this world is that people build up huge expectations in their mind. Expectations of the future, expectations of other people, expectations of how your life should unfold, and the situation that they'll be in. And all these expectations, what happens is they don't all come true. And as you've seen, therefore, greater expectations brings even greater frustrations. So one of the great lessons that Krishna teaches us is how to live in this world and have plans. Have plans, no problem. But don't let those plans turn into expectations. We have to plan for the future, but if those turn into expectations, then they lead to frustrations. And I'd like to share something that you may have already seen before, but a repetition of a good thing is a good thing. This is the circle of concern and the circle of influence. Many have seen this model. The big circle is the world situation, the government, the politics, the financial fortunes. That is the circle of concern. And circle of influence, the smaller circle, is what you can do. Now, the thing that most people don't realize is whatever circle that you focus on grows. So if your circle of influence, you focus on that, that will grow. And the gap between is where frustration sits. How much can we really influence in this world? How much can we do? Of course, it's very important to think about things larger than yourself, but you have to bring it to a sense of reality. What can I do in this world right now to help in the situation? So this is the golden rule, is whatever you focus on, that will expand. So Krishna tells Arjuna that focus on what you can control, which is your own effort. And beyond that, don't have any expectations. And if you do that, what you'll find is that the circle of influence will grow, frustration will reduce, and you'll find peace of mind, knowing that you've tried your best no matter what transpires around. You got to manage your expectations in this world. Whenever someone frustrates a person here in the monastery, I just say you got to manage your expectations. Don't expect anything from anybody. Expect the unexpected. So by controlling our expectations, this can have a huge impact on our mental health. So what was the first pearl? Regulation. Second pearl? The third pearl, the final, is not just regulation. It's not expectation. The third I'd like to offer you is comparison. Would someone like to read this one?
Perform your own purpose and not another's, even imperfectly. Bhagavad-gita 3:35.
So we're constantly comparing with people around us. That leads to insecurities, our inadequacy. We feel lacking in ourselves. Sometimes it seeps into even the monastery. It's like, oh my gosh, he sang so well. Oh, he cooked so well. Man, you saw his meditation. He didn't fall asleep once this morning. It's amazing. It's like, and so we compare ourselves, our journeys to others. Comparison is actually the thief of joy. It's like when you're taking an exam. Like my teachers aren't here, so I'll tell. When I was in school, I'd always position myself on an exam day to sit right next to the smartest kid in school, And then so I'd be looking like this, and I do the little. It's like, and then so imagine you do that, and you're sitting next to the smartest person in school, and then you're like, I was doing this, and then you realize when you get off the exam that you had different tests. You're like, oh my gosh, you got an A for that one. It's like funny when we do math tests. There'd be multiple choice math tests, and then you do a calculation, and none of the answers are the calculation that you ended up with, and you're like, okay, this is the closest number. So maybe we're all in. You think about it. Maybe we all have our own different tests in this world. Maybe we're all in to set out to do different things. Yes.
I saw this video today. This guy, someone told him, "You have ADD." And he was like, "Man, I have that ADD." So he asked for somebody for their medication. He took the medication, and he went through his math test, and he was like, "It's this, it's that, it's this." He's like, "Yeah, I got it for sure." And he turned it in like 20 minutes earlier than all the students, and the teacher said, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And then the teacher said, "I'll grade it right now." And he said, "You didn't get one answer correct." and you didn't even put your name on it. So it was...
Yeah, exactly. It's somebody else's medication. We're all trying to do... This is actually one of the issues with, modern education, is that we're all trying to fit all kids into one same box. Yeah. We're trying to push people to say, okay, you got to do this, 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 this. And then this is what is the quality of success. But actually, this is nonsense. The Gita explains there's 4 different types of people in this world to do different types of things. And based on the things you do, you're supposed to have goals for that. It's like judging a goldfish based on how well it's going to drive a car. That's not what the goldfish is supposed to do. The goldfish is supposed to look, move around. But yeah, the goldfish will always think that it's dumb because it can't drive a car, but it's not meant to do that. So comparison, it's not, we're all meant to be great in our own way. We all have our own successes. Krishna himself is saying it. Even if you're not doing your thing properly, do your thing. So imagine, how would it feel to write with your non-dominant hand? Give me some words. How would that feel? Hard. Awkward, hard, insecure. People judge your handwriting. Treacherous. Okay, it's treacherous. So these are some feelings that come when we're living a very inauthentic life. So how do we know what is our authentic life? What is our dharma? Now, there's a lot of commentary that you can speak about this, on how to find your dharma. But in a very quick way, you can say Krishna is telling us how to analyze, ask, and attempt. What is our passion? Find some people with expertise and attempt to do the service, and that equals your dharma. Krishna tells Arjuna to analyze our strengths and weaknesses. And you not just analyze your strengths and weaknesses, ask people who are in the field. Like if you're by analytical study, you found that, okay, maybe I should go into computer science, for example. Then I'll ask someone like Shrikar, who is in computer science, hey, how's your job? How's your balance? What is it very stressful? Is it this? And he can give me expert advice because he's in it. And also your friends and family who know you better. Maybe you're going through a fad. Maybe you're going through some space. Ask them, get their opinion. You don't have to do it exactly what they say. Don't ask ChatGPT. They don't
start a llama farm. Yes, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Here's where you can buy a llama.
ChatGPT always makes you feel good. They give you the good. It gives you a good compliment in the beginning. I remember my friend did a math equation, and then just randomly, like he asked, like, what's 4 plus 4? What an thoughtful, insightful question. 4 plus 4 equals 8. No, it was not a thoughtful, insightful question. So, passion, expert, and attempt different things. And in this way, you find your dharma. You find your purpose, your own unique contribution. And that last part is, I think, the key, is try to find service. Service is different from work. Like when we come to the monastery, to the temple, and we walk through, we don't do, like, for example, nobody in the monastery is paid. We do something called service. So service is basically doing things out of love, out of care, out of devotion. So try to find your passion, look for some expertise, and try to utilize it to contribute in this world, not just to detract. And you use that as a useful contribution in this world, it actually makes it a very beautiful life. So beautiful, actually, life can be if you just try to utilize everything in the service of others. Most people in this world are trying to create inventions and mechanics and things that are trying to suck up the money of everybody else and suck up the resources of everybody else so I can be the profiteer. But if you understand that I'm a living vessel to be utilized for others and to be utilized for the service of the divine, then actually we're coming to our true purpose in this world. So that's the 3 that I had to share. What is the first one? Regulation. Second is? Expectation. Third is? Comparison. Yes, and you find your dharma. So thank you very much for your kind attention. And I will say the Gita is an empowering book, which usually spiritual books have a focus on the afterlife or the divine connections. And the Gita does have those aspects of divinity and the afterlife. But these books are so powerful that they empower us to live a life, even in this world, that can be beautiful and to teach us how we can navigate in this world. So I would like to pause here and take any comments or questions. And if I don't know the answer, Nityananda Chandra is here, and he's an expert on the Gita, much more than me. And he's been a monk. He was a monk when I was born. So, yes, any questions, comments? Or a reflection. A reflection is different from a question. Anything that I said today that you're going to take in your pocket and take it home with you.
Doggy bag.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sure everybody's familiar with the imposter syndrome. And I've been thinking about it lately because let's say we choose a path of career and we do it imperfectly over the years, but we learn a lot of things, and maybe we feel somehow confident. Maybe people may recognize some of that. But then we face a situation where a person, maybe at work, or it's completely kind of trying to call out the imposter, in you, and you kind of you know that as anybody, you're imperfect, have weaknesses, have strengths. I guess, what do you recommend when someone, face that kind of continuous judgment, even like and it's this one person, but it's an important person. So, yeah.
I like to look at people as, thank you for your comment. I like to look at people as instruments of my karma. I like it really changes everything for me. It's not like, for example, that we have a verse that we share. Trinadapi suni chena tarorapi sahishtuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. This verse states by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's saying that let me be more humble than a blade of grass. Let me be as tolerant as the tree. Let me give all praise to others, and none belongs to me. He says this verse. So does that mean we're a doormat? No. That we just let everybody step on us? No. What Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling us is be so strongly rooted in your principles that like a tree, no wind is going to shake it. But when it comes to ourselves, let me be as humble as a blade of grass. When a grass is stepped on, it springs right back up. And if you look at the life, one of my gurus says, look at life as a living classroom. You look at everybody and you say that, they say in the Bhagavatam, it says that not a blade of grass moves in this world without the divinity's hand in it. So if you look at that, everything is happening for a reason. And everything that we do is actually a lesson to be learned. So when somebody comes and criticizes us, actually, when our Srila Prabhupada, his guru used to say, when somebody comes and flatters you, you should be very weary of them. But when someone comes and criticizes, keep them close to you, because he says actually we have an ocean of things that are flaws with us. He said, actually, those people are the people that are our true friends, people who criticize us. It's extreme. It's an extreme, of course. But there's some truth to be learned from that. Looking at life as like a classroom. I hope that added something.
There's a story of our Prabhupada's teacher. Now, if you're a student and you know your teacher is like living a life of integrity, and then you just have some critic, you feel so much anger towards that critic, like this, you're criticizing an honest person. And so there was a heavy critic of Bhaktisiddhanta, who was the teacher of Prabhupada. And the critic passed away, and one of the students was happy, and actually Bhaktisiddhanta started to cry, and he's like, he's the only one who was honest with me. So he like I said, he fully lived that kind of lifestyle where he's because he doesn't have the false sense of ego. You can't hurt he doesn't have like a little glass house of an ego that someone comes and smashes it. He's just looking, how can I improve? That's his nature. It's like, how can I serve? How can I improve? And you can't hurt him because he's on that spiritual platform.
Actually, I cherish those people actually more than... Actually, I love when people flatter me, don't get me wrong. But when people can be real with me and say, like, when we have a saying here, I hope nobody's name is Maya. Nobody's name is Maya. So Maya is, in Sanskrit, his name is illusion. One time I gave a class on illusion, Maya, and there's a girl named Maya here. And I was like, okay, the class is not about you, it's about the concept Maya. So in the monastery, and we say, when someone comes and says, like, you're in Maya, Prabhu, that's like, you're an illusion, like, you need to grow up, you need to get... Actually, it's so nice, because my guru taught me a mantra, we can all say it together, I live to be corrected. And if we say that, and we just take that, okay, I make mistakes, and I'm here to learn, it actually is such a powerful concept. So, yes?
There's this term, so there's paranoia. You're thinking that things are happening against me, but there's pronoia. Things are happening for my sake. You know, this hard lesson was for my sake.
Yeah. Life's a living classroom. Anything else? Anybody else? Yes. Jonathan.
From passion to expertise and then service. Sorry. How much of that is like predetermined for us to live on the next life instead of just going like straight to Godhead? Is it just like one or the other? Or is it?
Yeah, so it's described in the Bhagavad-gita, chapter 15, verse 8. Shariram yadavapnoti yachapya utkramati shvaraha grihit vaitani samyati vayur gandhani vashayat. So we're discussing our passions. It's described like the scent in the air is moving. So basically, like if you have, like on Mondays are in Brooklyn, Mondays are trash days. So Mondays, if you walk by the building outside, it smells horrible. And the wind, there's a Whole Foods down the corner. You'll smell it at the Whole Foods, how bad it smells. So the wind is carrying the scent. So it's described in the Gita that our passions are moving through different bodies like that. So this is, in modern context, you can say, is it nature or is it nurture? And so you have to analyze and see. And I'll just pull up that verse so you can actually have benefit of Krishna's exact words. The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. There's some people who are just naturally gifted at things, like LeBron James is very tall, and he's naturally gifted at, he had to cultivate it, but he had some natural skill at basketball. No matter how much I want to play basketball, I don't think I'll ever be LeBron James in this life. I could try. But you can see what is your nature and what are you nurturing. So that it's moves through life like that. Is that okay? You want another perspective?
Prabhupada said Ravi Shankar was playing sitar this was his 7th lifetime doing it.
7th lifetime?
He became the world's best sitar player.
Okay, there you go.
So should the expectation be like, as good as you are within that passion, should you just accept that it's possibly going to be within your next lifetime?
You're saying in the next lifetime you'll cultivate?
Yes.
Whatever you're doing here?
Yes.
You can understand that, like when one of our spiritual teachers passed away, this phrase came. He said, "Death is a change of service." So if you're doing spiritual things in this life, that continues into your next life. So this is an important thing: is how do we dovetail our capacities in service? And based on that, we can be engaged in something in the spiritual world, something like that. Do you have any other perspective on this?
I would say that you have, there's what is called conditional and constitutional. Means like, the conditional means based on the particular condition. Like I have a 2004 Toyota Avalon. It works in a certain way. It doesn't work like a Lamborghini, or it doesn't work like a Tesla. It works in a certain way, and that's the conditional. And then the constitutional is something that's always. So my constitutional nature is a soul, and that's fully expressed in loving service. The conditional, that will be adjusted over time. So that's important, but we have to kind of connect that to the last element there. Service is connect the element of I'm doing this for a higher purpose. And so that's kind of our aim, not really to become the best violin player in my next life for Krishna, but actually let me just be of service, whatever it is. Let me do something that is loving and selfless.
Thank you. That gives me a lot of clarification. Yes?
I'm curious to know, like, why should we, like, focus on the next life when we're in this life? because we might not even be conscious. So like, why should we focus on the future?
What do you think?
I wanted to do a skit where someone asks that question, and then people come in the room and like put a bag over someone's head. He's like, "Where are you taking me?" And they just drag them off, and they're like, "You don't need to know where we're going. It doesn't matter." It's like, no, it's like you want to know what's happening next. That's why people have fear of death, because they have no clarity of what it is, what's next. You know, and then we can actually live our life free of fear because we have clarity of what's our next situation.
Yeah. That's nice. I concur. Anything else? We have maybe time for one more. Yes.
Where can I learn about those? Where in the book can I learn about those 4 archetypes?
Chaturvarnamaya Shishta. No.
18, chapter 18.
18 or 7? Oh no, 18. Yeah, the beginning part of chapter 18 describes the different modes, and actually I could recommend an amazing book called Career Dharma, which is by Dr. Edith Best and Dr. Ruchira Datta, and they wrote this book on how to find your career and your dharma and how to sync those up, and to find out which archetype you fit into more. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. But from the Gita, the beginning part of chapter 18.
Thank you.
Should we? Yes, Jonathan. Sorry.
When it comes to a point to go like completely to spiritual, is it a point where you have to give up like your current like occupational endeavor, or just live like a brahmachari life?
The Bhagavatam doesn't recommend this. The Bhagavatam says that stane stitha shruti-gatam tanavan manobhir. It says stay in your position. You don't have to give up and become a monk, because guess what? Arjuna wanted to do that. He wanted to become a monk, like how I'm living. So he wanted to leave the battlefield and get rid of everything, and that's it. And he wanted to renounce everything. But he says, actually, Krishna says, no, stay in your position, but remember me and fight. Be a yogi. It doesn't mean don't be a warrior. Be a spiritual warrior. Don't be a king. Be a spiritual king. Don't be a fighter. Be a spiritual fighter.
So before death, like, is that the same idea? Like, should I be thinking of that?
The main thing is to be absorbed in spirituality, wherever you do it. Krishna is, when Arjuna is not Arjuna's completely absorbed in the fighting, of course, he's fighting externally, but he's completely remembering Krishna and fighting. So if your acts are dedicated to Krishna, that is actually ultimately, that's yoga. That's sannyasa yoga, because you've dedicated everything to the Supreme.
So incorporating your spirituality with
Yes, yeah. Is that satisfactory? Yes.
So I'm sure everyone agrees that Hadai is naturally situated in his dharma. It was a very good idea to become a monk. It was not irregulated, or he wasn't just doing it out of comparison or some crazy expectation, but it was his natural situation. He gave such a nice talk, so everyone give a nice round of applause.
Yeah, definitely none of my friends were becoming monks to compare myself to.
And so we always end our program with some kirtan, some music, some dancing. And so we can see if Hadai, you want to lead the
Sure.
kirtan? And so, stand up.